Lions Packers. Big
Yeah.
one.
So
Big one
excited.
that we have here. This was exciting. I'm glad this one is an afternoon slate just because a lot of people get to pay attention to it. Huge game here. Jordan Love said it is realistic that he could play this Sunday. I really hope that he is able to go and he feels as close to 100% as possible because, man, what a matchup this is. A divisional matchup, a potential future playoff matchup. These are two teams that have Super Bowl aspirations with the way that they have been playing so far this season. Your matchup that matters. You gave a great reaction when I said Lions Packers. So tell me, what is your matchup that matters here in this game that it feels like there's a lot of them?
There's so many, and these teams obviously are very familiar with each other. There's a ton of different kind of pieces you can pick out. So I had a tough time kind of figuring out where I wanted to go with this one. But I do think that it comes down to the Detroit secondary and Green Bay's receiving options. What makes Green Bay so incredibly dangerous as an offense is Jordan Love is a good quarterback. No matter what the Twitter armchair, whatever GMs will tell you, he's just like he's got Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers just like on either shoulder, like acting just like, yeah, don't do this, no, do this. Like
I think
he does
it's not an either or at this point. Like I think he's just the best version of
of
not I'm
both
not
of
saying that he's
them.
like better than Aaron Rodgers, but there's not a quarterback in my opinion who's playing more confidently than Jordan Love. Maybe Justin Herbert as of late because of the last two games that we've seen, but Jordan Love's just been phenomenal
There
like
is
this
not,
entire season.
I keep using the word with Jordan Love, the audacity of the way this man throws the football.
100%. Yes.
It's just,
Yes.
he's unafraid to do
Yep.
anything. And you get just these mind boggling tight windows that he'll throw into and he'll connect on, the Tucker Craft touchdown in the back of the end zone there. But then, kind of the flip side of that coin is there are going to be times where he's going to take that chance and it's not going to pay off and he is going to throw an interception. But he is extraordinarily confident. He knows his receiving options so incredibly well. And again, Green Bay has so many of them when you take into account tight ends, you've got running backs, and then you've got all of these receivers who none are like, the elite wide receiver one, but that's by design. It's that you've got good to great receivers all over the field that defenses can only account for so many guys. And Green Bay most likely will have one more than you can account for on the field that Jordan Love will be able to get the ball to because, again, he's unafraid to make those throws. And then you look at the Detroit secondary where the safeties are really carrying this for them. It's not necessarily the corners. So I do think that there's an opportunity to attack Detroit's secondary on the outside in particular, because if you go on the inside, you have Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, who are two of the top three highest graded safeties in coverage in the league. Kirby Joseph leading the league, in fact, in coverage grade, allowing the second lowest completion percentage among safeties as well. Overall, Detroit has the third best coverage grade because of these two players. They are ball hawks. They will get in your face. Kirby Joseph is one of the funniest follows on Twitter. It's all vibes and it's all really good for this Detroit secondary, but they're going to have a lot of guys to contend with. But that's where these safeties do come in, is then you're going to have to kind of run these quarters coverages. You're going to have to run certain things where you're going to have to account for multiple zones with your safeties, but the Lions happen to have two of the best coverage safeties that you could possibly ask for. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean
going to be
that's
really interesting.
I'll run that right into my plus factor. It's just the safeties overall. When you look at the Lions and the Packers, they are the two highest graded safety rooms in the
Yeah.
NFL. So
Oh
these are
yeah, Xavier
teams that
McKinney is the second highest
right.
graded.
It's Xavier McKinney, but then Evan Williams as well. How he is
Yes,
playing.
Evan Williams is good.
The Lions have 9 interceptions from their safety room. The Packers have 7. So they're 1 and 2 in total coverage grade for the safety room. They're 1 and 2 in total takeaways from the safety room.
Yeah.
I mean, these are two teams that have elite back ends of their defense in coverage, which I think are the plus factor is certainly like, okay, which one of these groups is going to make the biggest impact? Is one of them going to have one more turnover than the other? Like that could really make the difference for defenses that have really relied on these safety rooms to, I don't want to say necessarily carry them, but just be an emphasis of what they do. And so that to me is a big time plus factor. Two of the best safety rooms in the NFL getting to go up, not against against each other, but try to one up the other when they are on those sides of the field. I think the matchup that matters is really the Packers run game versus the Lions defensive front, and really just how they have defended the run, because the Lions 713 yards allowed this year on the ground. That's fourth fewest. And then 23 rushes of 10 or more yards allowed. That is the 10th fewest. So this is a top 10, if not top 5 run defense unit for the Detroit Lions. And they're going up against a team that, whether Jordan Love has been in the lineup or not,
Yeah.
they have been able to run the ball really well. And I said this in the grades release show that we did earlier this week on Monday. My favorite part about the Packers offense is the fact that whatever they need from their run game, they are able to conjure it really at any time. Whatever that ratio is, hey, we need about 30% of the offense to really be based around the rushing attack. Josh Jacobs and the rest of the group just goes, okay, all right, 30%. We're going to be the 30%. If they need them to be 60% of the game plan and they need them to carry the offense, he goes, okay, yeah, let's do it. Give me the workload. And so to me, I just love how efficient because sometimes you get run games where, okay, yeah, they have all these like volume statistics like carries and touchdowns and yards, but the efficiency might be down. So if you really curb their volume, their impact on the game isn't nearly as much. That doesn't feel like it's the case with the Packers. The Packers feel like they're efficient whether they are carrying the game plan or whether they are supplementary to the passing game. So that to me, can that still be a mainstay? Whatever version of Jordan Love they are getting in this game, whether it's a 80%, a 90%, a 70%, or a 0 if he doesn't play in this game, I think they have the run game to be able to get what they need out of this offense to make it very, very interesting here. And Dave Sofaro once again just hit me up and he said this is the first game that the Lions are playing outside of a dome this season. Obviously, it being in Green Bay is a really big deal. So I think I'm just really excited about that part of the matchup here. What's your plus factor before we move on?
Yeah, it's so interesting that my faith doesn't go down in the Packers because if Jordan Love plays or not, which is just, I think they're one of the only teams that I could, probably the only team I could say that for, where if they're starting quarterback, who's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, goes down, that somehow I'm still fine with it, and that I have faith in what Matt LaFleur is able to do when Malik Willis is on the field, and the way that he's, again, we saw this last game, in game, be able to switch into the packages and the different things that he has for Malik Willis versus what the game plan was with Jordan Love. It's just incredible, and Matt LaFleur has to be a Coach of the Year candidate because of it, but it's not actually my plus factor. My plus factor is a fun one because Ben Johnson is an insane man. And I think it's going to be Sam Laporta because of Ben Johnson's blood feuds with literally every team they play. He finds something to hone in on that the other team he's playing does well and then does it better than them. And that's what so I think Sam Laporta is it because if you look at Matt LaFleur's kind of track record, he uses his tight ends a lot. And Luke Musgrave is out right now for the Packers. But you've seen kind of the heroics of Tucker Kraft. And I think that Ben Johnson is going to say, yeah, I got one of those too. And then Sam Laporta, you're kind of waiting for him to break out a little bit more. And you saw him get a little bit more usage in this last game. Just putting up 52 points is just absolutely insane. And if you're wondering what the last blood feud was, it was going against the Titans, who have had quarterback troubles. Ben Johnson decided that they didn't need their quarterback to win that game. And that was like Jared Goff had a total of, I believe, 15 pass attempts or 18 pass attempts, something like that. Didn't even get going till later in the game. Like they willingly tied one hand behind Jared Goff's back and was like, "Now we can still beat you." So I think Ben Johnson is an absolute madman, which is meant as an extraordinary compliment. And I do think that he is going to challenge the Green Bay Packers and say, "Hey, I got a tight end too that can do a lot of stuff. Here's Sam Laporta, ladies and gentlemen."
I do love that call out. I love it because obviously they're just it's tensions so high with these two teams who believe that they are two of the best in the NFL, and I think we're going to get the best version of them. Certainly,
I wish every game.
I hope Jordan Love is as healthy as possible here because this is a beautiful matchup.